Nobody tells you what a calorie deficit should feel like day to day, so you either quit way too early or you push too hard that you burn out. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you signs that you are on the right track, signs that you are doing it wrong, and exactly how you're going to fix it. So let's dive into the first sign that you need to start paying attention to see if you are on the right track. I want you to think about it like this 1 out of 10 hunger scale. 10 being that you are not hungry at all, and 1 being that you are extremely hungry. I want you to be in this 3 to 6 zone. 6 being in that mode where after you eat dinner, you contemplate getting seconds. You know you probably shouldn't get seconds because you're in a calorie deficit, or you have that annoying little devil that sits on your shoulder telling you that you want a snack during the day, when in reality, you don't really want one. You're not really that hungry, but you're just bored. And that level 3 hunger is the level of hunger that you're not dying, but you want everyone else to know around you that you are. It's that level of hunger that you can't stop thinking about food. This 3 to 6 range is sign 1, which is mild hunger between meals. This is the level of hunger that between your meals, you should be sitting around this when you're in a calorie deficit. You're not starving all the time, but you're having some sort of slight hunger. So as the day rolls around and you're getting closer to a meal, you'll probably start leaning towards that 3. After you have that meal, you probably get above that 6, and then as you get closer to another meal, it starts to work its way down. So if you're seeing this sign of not being starving, but just having some sort of mild hunger, then there's a good chance you're on the right track. Now here's what most people miss, which is sign 2. I want you to think about this like a company. When a company starts to grow, they start to spend more money. Cool things start to happen. Like right now, but AI is really popular, so they start investing more into AI. They start paying maybe more employees because they want to maybe not do as many tasks. They start investing more money. Now there becomes a sweet spot where if they spend too much money, it is not good for the company. So they may need to take a budget cut. They might need to take a fine-tooth comb and start cutting a little bit on costs and start saving some money. Now, if they save too much or cut too much, then the company will start to fail. It's a lot like your diet, which leads me into sign 2, which is your energy is mostly stable. Just like that company, there should be a sweet spot within here. You're not dragging all day. Your workouts feel decent. Maybe you're not extremely motivated for them. They're not amazing. But on the other end, they're not terrible workouts. It's kind of like the long hair surfer dude. He's not living on very high highs or very low lows. He's just a chill dude. His energy is pretty stable. So if you're noticing that your energy is stable, and this is a good sign that you are on the right track. Now, this next sign is one that you may not be realizing is happening. Take a look at this. This is a mental capacity bar. You should be within this little sweet spot here. I do not want you over here in this spot. So what is this? This is sign 3, where you're not obsessed with food. This is 10 to 30% of the time where you are hungry. You are thinking about food. This is maybe where a meal gets closer and you start thinking about food. This is maybe where you come home from a long, exhausting day of work and maybe what you want is a snack. This is where you go to bed at night and you're having some sort of slight hunger. This is when you're thinking about food. Now, this 60 to 90% is not where you want to be. This is where you're always thinking about food. This is where all you can physically think about is, I'm starving, I'm hungry, I want to have some sort of food, but I can't because I'm losing weight. That should be a massive red flag to you that you're not doing the right things. But if you're in that 10 to 30%, then you're on the right track and you're approaching a calorie deficit probably in the right way. Now here's the problem. None of this matters if you're not paying attention to this next sign. I want you to think about it like this. It's like investing. When you put money into an investment, you probably don't even really look at it. But over time, there's a very good chance, and what you hope is that it continues to grow over time. Now, if you were to pay attention to this investment on a day-to-day basis, you are going to see several spikes. You are going to see where maybe you gain a bunch of money in one day or 1 week, and then you lose a bunch of money in another day or another week. This would drive you nuts if you constantly paid attention to this. But your hope and what you should be paying attention to, what your advisor is probably telling you is, it's going to go up over time. Don't pay attention to the spikes up and down. Pay attention to what it does long term. This is a lot like weight loss, which is a sign that you should be paying attention to is your weight trending down. Now, I think it's a great option and you should probably be tracking your weight on a consistent basis. And I think it's totally fine and okay to track your weight daily. But where the problem lies within is when you're constantly letting your emotions get caught up and getting excited when the weight spikes down a couple pounds in one day, or pissed off when it spikes up a couple pounds in one day. What you should be paying attention to is disassociating your emotions when you step on the scale every single day, which is not an easy thing to do, but be able to do this and then take a step back and pay attention and look at the trend line going down over time, because that's where you will know if you're losing weight or not, because spikes up and spikes down are extremely normal. But if you're seeing that weight trend down over time, then this is a sign that you are in a calorie deficit. Does it mean you're approaching it correctly? Maybe, maybe not, but it is a sign that you're in a calorie deficit. Now, this next sign determines if you keep the weight off or if you gain it all back. I want you to ask yourself a question. Could you do this for the next 30 days? If you sit there and you hesitate, that should be an immediate red flag to you that you're probably approaching your calorie deficit incorrectly. If you even doubt it or don't even think that you could continue doing your diet for the next 30 days, then you're probably approaching it incorrectly. Now, if you didn't hesitate and you sit here and say, okay, I could do this for the next 30 days, then that's a good sign to you. And that sign is that you could continue to do this for weeks. That's a sign that what you are doing and how you're approaching a calorie deficit is probably on the right track, because this is something that you can sustain. It's not something that's a quick fix. It's like the speed on a treadmill. When you're on a treadmill that's going slow, it feels like you're not making progress at all. Whereas if the treadmill is going extremely fast, you are bound to fly off of it. Now, there's a sweet spot. There is a sustainable speed that makes sure you feel like you're making progress, but you don't feel like you're gonna fly off of it. Now, this is what a good calorie deficit should feel like, but let me show you what it looks like when you're doing it wrong. So let's dive into sign number one of what you're doing wrong. Let's bring back this hunger chart. We didn't talk about the lower end of this, the red zone, and not the football red zone, a worse zone. We are talking about the 1 to 3 level of hunger. And if you're in this 1 to 3 zone, this is a problem. This is that level of hunger that you don't want anything healthy. You want something freaking nasty. You want something greasy. You want something that's gonna make you feel like shit. This is where you want that greasy pizza, and then after you eat it, you feel guilty from it because you really couldn't control how you felt. Or it's that level of hunger where you're just freaking hangry and you're saying stuff to people or your partner that you probably shouldn't have said. This is sign one, where you are always hungry. You are always starving. You need to avoid this 1 to 3 hunger zone, because if you're always starving, then this should be a massive sign to you that you are not approaching a calorie deficit correctly. And if this is happening, then this next sign usually comes with it. Have you ever had those days where you start the day off good, or maybe at a decent level of energy, and as it progresses over the next couple hours, around like 1, 2, or 3 p.m., and you just crash hard? It feels like a truck just hits you. This is sign 2, where your energy crashes hard. This is where workouts are terrible. This is where simple tasks feel harder than they really should be, like cooking some food, or maybe doing any chores around the house, or maybe some sort of creative thing that you're supposed to do for work that you're like, I'm just gonna get done, that normally would take you maybe an hour, but here it's taking you 3 hours because all you're sitting there doing is constantly struggling. This is literally where you probably have no desire to want to continue your diet at all. If your energy is crashing all the time, it's okay if it happens occasionally, but if it's crashing all the time, this should be a massive red flag to you that what you are doing within your calorie deficit is probably not correct. Now, this next sign is where willpower starts to run out. This is little old you struggling, sitting there holding on to the dang bar. Whereas it is just a matter of time before you drop. It's not a matter of what, it's a matter of when. When you drop, when you feel like you've burned out. You can only hold on to that bar for so long. This is not a matter of willpower, because willpower is just a temporary fix. This is sign number 3, where you are white knuckling it. If you're just sucking it up or just trying to survive on that diet, and that's what you are constantly feeling like, then you are probably approaching that diet or your calorie deficit incorrectly. Or you just can't wait for those 30 days to get off the diet, or you're just constantly looking forward to the weekend or that next cheat meal, then this should be a big red flag or a big sign to you that you are doing something wrong. The good news is this is actually an easy fix once you know what to do. Now, if you want a more in-depth way and a step-by-step process on how to get weight loss results, then I built an entirely free mini course on how to lose weight that you can just access for free in the description down below. But if you don't want it, no big deal, because I'm about to show you how you can fix this right now. There is this sweet spot that you want to be within. A lot of people tend to be on the far right side of this. Or even a lot of people tend to be on the far left side of this. And they're avoiding this sweet spot that is actually where they're going to see the results and fix all of your red flags and your problems. And that sweet spot is going to be a 500 calorie deficit. Now, what is that? How do you even find your calorie deficit? I'm gonna show you right now, because this is where most people are gonna sit here and be like, oh, just download my free calorie calculator. I'm gonna just show you quick and make this easy. This is what I want you to do. You're gonna type in tdeecaloriecalculator.net. Once you go here, This is how you're going to find what your maintenance calories really are. All you need to do from here is you need to type in this information. It's very simple. I'm just going to use me as an example. I'm a male. My age is 27. I weigh 185 pounds, and then I'm 5'11". I like to round up to 6 foot, but I won't, I guess, for this. Now, I'm somebody who's pretty active. My job just requires where I move around a lot, so I probably get heavy exercise. If this isn't you, doesn't look like you, or maybe you just work out a few days a week, or maybe you don't have a job where you're moving around a lot, like a nurse, or always constantly walking. I train people, so I'm always around moving. Then you might not want to be in this heavy exercise, right? But if you are that person, then you're probably going to be within that heavy exercise. Kind of just pick to where you think you roughly are at. I'm not going to put body fat percentage because it's hard to even calculate in general, and you don't need to do this. You just go ahead and you're going to click calculate. Now, for me, and this is pretty high maintenance just because I'm a very active person, but for me, it says my maintenance is 3,168 calories. Now, even if I wanted to play this safe, I could say 3,000, or I could even round down a little bit more. But let's just take this number. From here, I'm going to minus 500. I'm going to say 3,100 just to make my math easy, especially on camera. So what I would do now is I would minus 500 from 3,100 calories, and that is going to get me 2,600 calories. That is going to be what I am eating every single day, because my maintenance, and maintenance just meaning the amount of calories that you burn on a daily basis. And if you were to eat back 3,168 calories, right? That means I wouldn't gain any weight and I wouldn't lose any weight. So I'm trying to find a deficit. I'm trying to eat less than I burn on a daily basis. So I went to minus 500, giving me, like I said, 2,600 calories. So that's very simple. Is that going to be 100% accurate? Of course not. Every calculator that you use is going to have a level of inaccuracy. From there now you have that number, mine 2,600. I am now going to make sure I'm tracking every single thing that I eat and making sure I'm hitting close to that 2,600 number every single day. I'm going to be tracking my weight. And then if I am losing 1 pound of weight loss a week, that means I'm in a 500 calorie deficit. And I know this by paying attention to that trend line that we talked about earlier. Now, once you have that 500 calorie deficit, it is extremely important that you start prioritizing protein, because you could technically be in a calorie deficit and still be seeing negative signs. But if you start prioritizing protein, you are going to start seeing more of these positive signs, because what protein is going to help you do is make you feel more full. When you feel more full, you don't have these negative signs as much. All you are going to do is take your goal body weight times 0.8, and that is going to give you the amount of grams to eat in protein every single day. I'm going to do some math here quick on myself, but let's say my goal is 170 pounds, or for me, I would take 170 times 0.8, and that is going to give me 136 grams of protein. Now, if you're lighter, it's going to be lower. This is why it's important to take a goal body weight. If this number seems way too high for you, what you are going to do is just try to increase what you are currently doing by roughly 10 to 20 grams. And then as it becomes easy to be consistent with this, you keep bumping this up a little bit until you can eventually hit that goal. Now, you can be doing all these things right and still have days where you just feel like crap. Your mental state is just getting in the way. Your brain is blocking you from getting to that results of weight loss. What you need to start reminding yourself is that slow feels frustrating, but it should feel this way. It's not supposed to be fast. You are building a body that stays lean. Something that helps me a lot is I like to ask myself a question when I'm in these zones of just kind of like crapping on myself. What I'll do is, Cole, in 1 year from now, if I continue to do these things I'm doing, working hard, would I get to that goal? And my answer that I always come up to is, after taking a stepping back and looking at myself from a third person view, is that yes, if I'm continuing to put these results in, there's no doubt I'm at least going to get to my goal. Or at the very least, I'm going to be making a ton of progress. So start asking yourself this. Now, you know what a calorie deficit should feel like. But even if you're doing this right, most people still fail because they expect quick results. So in this next video, I break down how to make weight loss permanent.